that down a bit. Is that a screen thing on there? You have a screen protector on? You
Oh,
always had it
yeah.
on?
Yeah. It looks like it's coming a bit off. I could take it off, though.
Makes it look blurry.
Yeah.
Nice stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakash, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And we out here once again. We're gonna go right into it. We're gonna start with 2nd Ezra 15, then 16, then 13, then 2. We're gonna try to hit it in that order if we can get through it. But pretty much that answers the title, right? Because that's what's gonna happen next, according to the timeline of biblical prophecy. Now, in terms of current events right now, what you got going on is they're having these talks in Islamabad, Pakistan, where they're saying now you got, the Iranians over there. They're saying the U.S. envoys over there, and they're basically having so-called peace talks. So we're gonna see what comes out of that. But already there's some reports that said that the U.S. has sent warships through the Strait of Hormuz, trying to so-called clear out the mines, because they came out and said that Iran said that they couldn't clear the mines because they don't even know where it's at. They just dropped it in the water and now they can't find it. But then Iran came out and said, no, ain't no warships that went through here. So even till even till right now, you still got. But that's how war goes, right? You have propaganda during wartime. You have information, disinformation, misinformation, all of this going on at the same time. Because no side is going to give out 100% truth about what's going on, especially if it doesn't favor them, right? Both sides are going to play it up to make it seem as though they're having the upper hand, right? Or they're winning, okay? Because as much as warfare, military, troops, bombs, as much as these matter during war, narrative and information also matters during the war. Because what the people have access to is not your military and not your bombs, but it's to the information about you. So if your people, your civilians are hearing certain information, that affects, the sentiment, the nationalistic sentiment that sometimes you need for war. And what I mean by that is if your people, your citizens are not for war, now you need bodies to go over there, and fight for you in a war. How is that going to happen? All right, it's going to be much more difficult to do that. But anyway, like I said, we're going to see what comes out of these talks. But at the end of the day, we know what the Lord has determined. Matter of fact, let's start with that. I believe that Zephaniah might be 3 and 3 and 8. Let's take a look there and see. Because the Lord mentioned what his thoughts, plans, and determination is. Yeah, 3 and 8.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3 and 8. And it reads, "Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord."
Right. So, in all these things that are happening, we're not the ones making it happen. Right. We're just the messengers. We're just here to tell you what's about to happen before it happens. But we don't control what actually happens. Right. Matter of fact, pause there and jump to Amos 3 and I believe it's 3 and 7. Okay. So the Lord reveals to us what he's gonna do, because he's the one who takes action. And we just come and warn you. Right? We're the heralds, the prophets. Go ahead.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 3 and 7, and it reads, "Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets."
That's it. Now, surely the Lord God will do nothing. What that means is before the Lord does anything. Okay, so it doesn't mean the Lord doesn't do anything at all, and the only thing he does is reveal secrets to his prophets. No, it means that before the Lord does anything, he reveals it to his prophets. And that's why it's a secret, because people don't know what the future is, right? They don't know what the future holds. That's why you have the saying, tomorrow is not promised, right? But we know what the future holds because the Lord has revealed it to us. So now going back to where we were in Zephaniah, yep. He said, wait ye upon me. So knowing the things that the Lord is about to do, because we're not the ones making it happen, but we know what's about to happen, we wait upon the Lord for him to come and take action. Go ahead.
This is Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. And it reads, therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey.
So who's the prey? The prey of these nations, right? And ultimately, those that the Lord has set his face against. That includes the ungodly of our people as well. So we see the wickedness going on, but we have to wait till the Lord rises up to the prey. So the Lord is likened unto the predator in this sense, and those that are going to suffer his wrath are likened unto his prey. Like how a lion, when it's ready to go on the attack, you know, because, you know, lions are smart. Some people, you know, they think animals are just because they can't speak English or Swahili or Spanish, you know, you expect to go and see a lion and it's like, ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien. You know, all that. No, lions don't speak our language, but it doesn't mean that they don't have intelligence. So even when they go hunting, they have formations. And there are some that spook the prey. There are some that are ahead to cut off the prey. And there are some that are doing the actual attacking. And when they rise up, that's like when you see a lion chasing its prey. Because sometimes what they'll do is, as they're chasing the prey, they'll use their paw, whether it's right or left, to trip it. You know, so you'll see if you've seen a lion chasing its prey, sometimes it tries to get close enough to trip the back leg with its paw. And once the animal falls down, it can pounce on it. And one of the first places they go for is right there. You know, the jugular. They try to cut off your oxygen. So you'll see a lion holding down its prey because them paws are big. And it's holding down its prey like that to basically cut off its oxygen. Okay? And if the prey is big, then you'll see the lion leap up, you know, and hope in hopes that it can grab onto that prey. And sometimes they get messed up, you know, but sometimes they catch the prey. So the Lord is likened onto that predator that is rising up to the prey. Go ahead.
I also have a point for animal intelligence. Last night I saw a video on polar bears. There was this guy. He was in his cabin and he saw a polar bear, so he went to go and take pictures. And then the polar bear, essentially, his body language was given like, "Yeah, all eyes on me. Just keep looking at me." And then all you could hear from like the back, because his friends were like further back, it was like, "Oh shit, there's another one." And then you see that polar bear jump, the second one jump onto the man, and he was done after that.
Oh wow! So he was there to distract them while the other one came in.
Yeah.
So much for thinking. So that's the thing. Like people think that you underestimate the creation of the Lord. How you think they survived for so long? If animals were so dumb, how you think they survived in the? First off, if you went into any of these animals' territory and you try to survive, you wouldn't. You die. Because it takes more intelligence to survive in the wild than it does to survive in an artificial society like this one. And even in this one, people die every day. You know, the things that animals got to go through and how they got to think about it, you can't even do that. So go ahead.
Continuing, Zephaniah 3 and 8. For my determination is to gather the nations.
So when you go into that word determination, it's basically the Lord's sentence, his decree. So the Lord has given the order, the decree via the angels to gather the nations. And that's how the Lord operates, right? He sends his angels. Matter of fact, jump to Daniel, the 10th chapter. And let me find out what verse it is. Because the Lord controls the minds of the rulers. Really, he controls the minds of everybody. But he does it through influence, you know? Sometimes he'll put a certain idea or thought into your mind. Sometimes he'll use somebody else to tell you something. Sometimes he'll use an event. An experience you go through to lead your mind a certain way. Okay, and Daniel 10 goes into an example of him actually, you know, controlling the minds of rulers. That goes into that's an example of Proverbs 21 and 1. Let me see if I can find the verse. The verse right here. Yeah, Daniel 10 and you can start at yeah. You can start at Daniel 10 and 10.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 10, verse 10.
Because Daniel was praying, right, and fasting, and then the Lord heard his prayer. And then when Yahweh was sent to him, this is what he said. Go ahead.
And it reads, "And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent."
Right. So Daniel, as it says, a man greatly beloved, and the angel is going to say that when he made his prayer, when you pray, right, the Lord gives the go-ahead in the heavens. All right, go ahead, service, whatever he needs, take care of that. Do this, do that, make him wait a bit. Nope. Just let him pray a little bit longer. I'm doing this on purpose. So the Lord controls all of that, right? There's always a council going on in the heavens where the Heavenly Father controls, what's going on. Obviously, Yahweh Shai as well. Okay, but go ahead.
And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words.
Yeah, so his prayers were heard. And that's what the angel was letting him know, that, hey, your prayers were heard, and that's why I'm here. I was sent because of whatever it is you were praying for. Go ahead.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days.
Yeah, and the prince of the kingdom of Persia was the ruler at the time, okay, of the Persians at this time when this was happening. So what does he mean by he withstood me? So the angel's job there was to control the mind of that prince or that ruler, to fulfill whatever events the Lord needed him to. Because sometimes, see, the Lord, the scripture say he sets up another, right? He takes one down and sets up another. But all of these rulers that are set up to bring about the will of the Lord. And it doesn't mean they got to go and find Bibles and go and start teaching. No, the will of the Lord can be many things. The will of the Lord can be war. The will of the Lord can be genocide. The will of the Lord can be, a certain legislation being passed. So he put certain people in certain positions to do it. He ain't going to have us do it because that's not our lot. They're just like he ain't going to have Biden or Trump be a prophet because that's not their lot. Go ahead. There you go.
But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days.
So Daniel was likely praying for understanding, because he had a lot of these visions, some scary, most he didn't understand, even though some of them the angels broke down to him. So here the angels telling him, look, I was sent, but I was delayed because of the mind of this king right here. So I had to call Michael to come and help me out. Grab the nigga's mind, choke him down a bit while I feed his mind into subjection to the will of the Lord. There's more than that.
For yet the vision is for many days.
Yeah, because the vision that Daniel received, it wasn't about things that would happen exactly at his time. Okay? Go ahead. No, you get on that. So where do we go to get here? Back to Zephaniah.
This book of Zephaniah 3 and 8.
Right, because the Lord uses his angels to set up the ordinances that he wants. So even the gathering, when he mentions his determination, his sentence, his decree is gather these nations at this appointed time in this appointed region and have them go to war with each other. And it's going to start with this nation, it's going to start with that nation, and this one is going to do this, and this one is going to do that. Just like he had a council in the heavens concerning how Ahab was going to die. He said, who's going to persuade him to go up? And how are you going to do it? So for all we know, the Lord could have had a council saying, look, how we want to do this? But once again, we know that this is determined, preordained. The Lord already determined this centuries ago as to how this is going to play out.
What you was just mentioning with Ahab is exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking about, if I'm not mistaken, Isaiah 55 and 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. Now, the word isn't just the Heavenly Father saying, hello, how are you? No, it's his orders, command. Because going back to the story, what? He had a council amongst the angels, and what? The angels were saying, what? I will do this, I will do that. So some of them were saying, hey, I could do this. They were suggesting certain things. But then one said, I will persuade. And then the Lord said, what? How will you do it? He said, I will be a lying spirit in the lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord said, what? Go forth and do. You shall accomplish what you want. So when it says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, basically meaning what? The commands of the Heavenly Father. And when it says it shall not return unto me void, because then what? The angel got to come back and report and say, hey, what? Oh, yeah, I went and did such and such. Because it wasn't like the angel just said, okay, yeah, I'm going to be a lying spirit. Hey, did you do what I asked you to do? So they come back and say, yeah, now we what? Now we move to the next sequence event. We're going to have now set up that other sequence event that we didn't see. Because what? It's not just, okay, he's going to go up to Ramoth Gilead. He needs the adversary for him to die. So I got to set up and work on those minds, those individuals, to get them to go to the war, so that way he can go there and die as well. So when it says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, is what? It's going into the commands of the Heavenly Father. They shall not return unto me void. I mean, what? Them angels, when what? When they do the commands of the Heavenly Father, hey, yes, sir, or sorry, yes, Lord, I did what you commanded. All right, let's move to the next thing.
Right. Just like brother said, because when they have got to the battlefield, you could have came back unscathed. But the scriptures say that one of the Syrians drew a bow and an arrow and launched it. And the Lord had it. He had to have had an angel guide that arrow to go right through Ahab's armor piece right through the hole in his or the chink in his armor, right up into his torso or somewhere up there. Eventually, either way, it was a fatal blow. He ended up dying.
And you had to know it was the Lord because, or the Lord had the angel work on that individual's mind because he did it randomly too.
Yep. Catch the thing today. Got it.
This is Zephaniah 3 and 8.
Yep.
What? Think about all this stuff that you're going through. Seeing all the plagues, you're like, yo, my dude, stop, chill out. At one point, I forgot what it was. It was like, yo, you don't see the Lord fight for Israel. Like, yo, chill the hell out. Like, yo, just leave him, let him go. Stop. Now he kept going. Why is that? You seeing all these plagues, then you see a chariot in the sky doing laser beams, doing all this stuff. You at one point say, yo, what was that from? I forgot the dude's name. On some Friday when Debo knocked out the dude for his bite, and the pop's like, "You want some too, old man?" Like, no, you should have been like, "Yeah, you know what? I see all this going on. No, you got it. You can leave now." But what? Kept hardening the Pharaoh's heart, and even when you see the Gulf of Suez with the Red Sea part, you see all this crazy going on. You're still gonna go through that. It's like, yo, what in your mind makes you do that? But it's the Lord hardening the heart. I'm sorry. It's kind of like the example. It's like, yo, when a person doesn't listen, it's like, yo, I hate it. It's like, you're not listening. It's like, why is it not getting through?
That's right.
This is Zephaniah 3 and 8, and it reads, "Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, unto the day that I rise up to the prey."
And that day is approaching, right? The day is approaching, great. The Lord is doing the gathering. Go ahead.
For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation.
So what's the Lord doing right now? He's gathering the nations, right? He's gathering the nations, starting with Amalek, correct, Israel, using them to provoke this back and forth. They've already dragged in the U.S., and once the U.S. got involved, you can see how this becomes more of a global thing. So as they're having these so-called peace talks, having these so-called peace talks, that's not going to last for long. Because what would happen if things just ended up going back to being peaceful again? The other nations wouldn't have a reason to come over there to that region. Why would France send troops over there? Why would China send troops over there? Why would Russia send troops over there if everything just goes back to being peaceful? It wouldn't make sense. So the Lord is going to gather the nations there through conflict. Okay? Go ahead.
Even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with fire of my jealousy.
Now, when it says all the earth, the word in the Hebrew for earth is aratazah. And aratazah means land. So you can have land, which is referring to a geographical region. For example, the block that you live on, that is land. That's a certain portion. And then you can have it in reference to the whole entire planet. But we know that this isn't referring to the whole entire planet. The whole entire planet is not going to be devoured with fire. And the fire is going to be from this Third World War, but it's going to be in certain places. Okay, that was it on that. All right, jump back to 2nd Esdras 15. Because really, if you think about it, from where we at now, what culminates all of these, what sums up all the events that are going to happen from this point on, is in 2nd Esdras 15, 16, 13, and 2. Okay? It's going to go into some of them focus on the geopolitical conflict, some focus on the internal conflict that's going on within the countries, mainly within Babylon. It goes into the deliverance that the Lord is going to bring. It goes into the Lord's return. It goes into World War III, right? And then it goes into the Lord's return, and then what happens after the Lord's return. So it's really, you can encapsulate that in 2nd Esdras 15, 16, 13, and 2. And 2 around 40th verse on down. Right?
This is 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and 1, and it reads, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy."
Right. So we've been commanded as prophets to speak the words of prophecy, right, into the ears of the Lord's people, because they're the ones who are most affected by it. Right? You are most affected because you have a chance at salvation. The rest of these nations, whether we told them or not, it ain't going to change their fate. You ain't going to tell a heathen, hey, this is what's coming, and they're going to say, okay, well, I'll repent, and then the Lord delivers them. That's not going to happen. At most, you could tell them, look, you better just buy a ticket and go to some like chill country somewhere. So when Iran and Russia launch their missiles and all of these countries get involved in this Third World War, you're not in a place where it's a direct hit. But I mean, they're not going to listen. That's the thing. You know why they're not going to listen? Because the Lord needs to keep them here. If everybody was just like, yeah, okay, we're going to take that advice and we're going to book it, who's going to be here for the missiles to eat? Who's going to be missile food? Yeah?
All right, so I won't have to fulfill that prophecy.
That's right.
"Which I will put in thy mouth, save the Lord."
Right, and what that means, not like the Lord's going to come down from the heavens, open up your mouth and throw words in there, but he's talking about putting the Spirit upon you, right, to speak these words. And really to understand it and break it down correctly. See, what's going to happen, which is happening now, is there's no more room, no more wiggle room. You can't hide anymore, right? The doors of prophecy or the walls of prophecy are closing in, and so those little slick talk, double speak, the MOTV is not this, but it's that. What the Lord is doing is he's eliminating all of those all of that rhetoric, and he's making to shine what it really is. And a lot of people are going to find out, look, they know, even the so-called congregation of these false leaders are going to have to realize that, yeah, hey, you can't hide the fact anymore. The truth is the truth.
Right, because with their congregation and everything like that, the events of prophecy is going to affect people so badly that when they go to them and ask questions, all that fear that they give with that prosperity doctrine and things like that, people eventually not going to listen to that because, like, yo, you've been telling us the same message all this time, and it's like, yo, we don't need to hear that right now. Like, we got hard times going on. Like, yo, you got anything really to tell us? Things like that. It's like eventually, I'm like, we really ain't got nothing to say. That's going to eventually show them up to they really ain't who they was claiming to be this entire time.
That's right. See, there's no, I mean, history should have showed you that already. There is no getting around the Lord. What he has said is what he's going to do. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Right?
Verse 2, "And cause them to be written on paper."
So the reason we have these words now, in the form of the Bible, is because when the Lord gave the word, he caused it to be written on paper, to be scribed down. So now we have access to it, to be a guiding light for us. Right?
"For they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee."
Right, they're faithful and true. What that means is that, there you go. Hey, shalom, bro.
Yeah, Bashmi Ashar Brakatam. You can hear me all right?
Con.
Okay, Khan.
What that means is that the words in the Bible are going to happen. The prophecies in here, they're going to come to pass because they're faithful and they're true. They're not lies. They're not predictions. They're prophecy. And there's a difference between a prediction and a prophecy. When people predict things, they're pre-dictating. Okay, and that's from their own minds, based on what they've seen. Prophecy is already determined to happen. Okay, prophecy is set in stone. You cannot overturn, you cannot be wrong with prophecy, because the Lord has already said, look, I'm the one who's making this happen. In fact, I've already said it. How would the prophets of old have seen the future? That means that it had to have existed. So if they saw this already happening, then that means that it's already existing. We're just now about to go into it. A prediction is not like that. That's it.
Yeah, it's this is Jeremiah chapter 28 and 9, the NLT. It says, so a prophet who predicts peace must show he is right. Only when his predictions come true can we know that he is really from the Lord. So you have to be able to show that you're correct. So for all these guys that, like I was watching Elder Yashwamba and them from Dallas last night, and they were talking about the guy from, I forgot his name, Ricky Sabero from End Time Headlines, always saying, oh, Babylon is not America, this is that. But it's like, okay, so then where is Babylon? Because Babylon is prominent in End Time prophecy. What is the MOTB? What is this? What is that? Because you guys are saying a lot of this is not this or this is not that, but it says, what is the answer then? Give us some answers. So whatever your predictions or whatever your things are, you have to be able to show that they're correct. Because we're heading to a time where it's like, yo, everything that we've been saying is 100% correct. So it's like, think about it like this. Our family members and things like our friends ain't coming to y'all for answers. They coming to us. So it's like, what's up with that if y'all really got the truth? You gotta think about that.
And then those same people, they're gonna turn around and come looking for us anyway. Because with what's this guy's name? I think it was Simon, who bewitched the people with sorceries. He was doing something and it worked, but it was on the left-hand side. Now, when he saw Philip, I believe it was Philip, performing true miracles, even he himself, Peter, whoever it was, he himself, no, I think it was Philip. Peter was I think it might have been either the same or a different Simon, but with Peter, he came there to try and buy the miracles. With Philip, I think it said that he basically came to him and said, look, I believe, you gotta I'm gonna follow your ways, because I recognize what it is that what you're doing is authentic. I knew what I was doing was on the left-hand side, but he wasn't right anyway. Go ahead.
That speak against thee.
Yeah, that's the incredulity, is the unbelief. So we're not worried about the unbelief of people that speak against us. Oh, what you're saying is not true. Oh, go get a job. Oh, go do something more important with your life. That doesn't bother us. Because before you came here, we were doing the same thing we've been doing. And after you leave, we're going to keep doing the same thing we've been doing. So we sleep good at night. You, on the other hand, you're going to have mental instability once this shit starts hitting closer to home. So then what happens? When you start watching, because a lot of people say, you know what, I'm not going to watch the news. And maybe with that, I'm going to be okay. Well, that's like saying, well, there's gunshots outside your house and it's getting closer and closer, but I'm going to put some headphones on so I don't hear it. And in that case, I'm going to be all right. Because if I don't hear the gunshots, then they don't exist. That's the mindset that these people got. If I can't see the boogeyman, then he's just not there. Or you're going to feel the boogeyman when he slaps shit out your ass, then your eyes going to pop right open, right? So when you put them headphones on and then whoever got the gun kicks down your door, you may not hear it, but you're going to see it. And you might feel that hot lead inside of your body. So being ignorant of news in these times does not make the events not happen. Iran is still going to go to war with the U.S. Russia is still going to get involved. That's still going to affect you, whether you like it or not. That.
Verse 3. Verse 4.
Oh.
For every unbeliever shall die in his unbelief.
And why does it say unbelievers will die in their unbelief? Because if you don't believe, you're not going to take the necessary measures to get you to salvation. If you don't believe, you're not going to listen to the warnings that we're giving you. And if you don't listen and take heed to the warnings that we're giving you, then you ain't going to follow the right path. You're going to be destroyed anyway. So it doesn't even have to be that, oh, you're unbelievable, I'm going to destroy you. If you're an unbeliever, you're going to destroy yourself because you're not going to listen to follow the ways of righteousness. You're going to go in the path of destruction. God?
Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
So all these plagues that are happening in the world today, the Lord is the one who's bringing them. The sword, if you've noticed, a lot of people, I mean, there have been a lot more deaths, right? Violence in the world, and a lot of it is through, weapons, mainly guns. In the past, you would have people being put to death. Somebody get beaten to death. Oh, recently there was this. I think he was an immigrant or a migrant. I forgot where he was from, but in the video, what you see is, I think it was some dispute over gas. So all you see is this guy. Man, that lady should stay her ass in the freaking store. But she comes out the little gas station joint. I guess she came to confront him, and he didn't even come for words. This man just pulled up to her with a hammer, bam, 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 right in her face. And he had a spirit on him, because it wasn't on some like, boom, I'm gonna hit you in the mouth. No. Hit her till she went down, and then continued on while she was down. So that means that his mindset was, no. You need to understand that, like, the rage that's in me right now is about to now be in you, even in your corpse. So you got to watch out for these kind of guys. But people see these kinds of things and they just walk about like everything is all sweet. No, dummy. You got to keep in your mind, you know what? Let me not confront people. Let me think twice about that, because the last person that did it got a hammer to the head and then ended up in the spirit world. So when you see that, whatever. It's cool. Because people are off their shit nowadays. They off their meds, really.
And you gotta think about it. Our power is really the only one claiming to do all these things. Even of how the world was formed. He's the only one that says he did it.
Right.
See, no other gods are saying that they did it.
Yeah, they could try, but at the end of the day, you know what? It's easy for somebody to come on the scene and say things about the past, right? It's easy for them to come and say, oh, that guy who did that was really me. You're going to have an Edomite in the future come and say, I was Michael Jordan. So it's easy for them to come and say that at the water. But if you were Michael Jordan, then do what he did again. And that's where the problem comes. You know what I'm saying? Jump, do, show me some skills. Grab the ball and show me some skills. You a Floyd Mayweather? Show me a few. Don't show me a jab across the do sign. And then you're gonna find out, no, you ain't. Got the water, bro. You're gonna find out, no, you ain't. So the thing about our power is he's telling you these are the things that I did, but I'm about to do it again on a higher level. The thing that I did to gain my rep, I'm about to do that times, an X amount of times. And these other guys, they can't do that. And what they're gonna find out is, just like what happened with Jonah when he was on that ship, they're going to be praying to all their gods and nothing is going to be happening. Just like the time of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. They cut themselves, they were bleeding, they were doing all these things, and their God didn't answer them. And we're going to be in the stead of Elijah in this time, where the Lord is going to hear our prayers. He's going to be there with us. And that's in 2 Ezra 2 as well. But for for anybody else, it's not going to be the same. So, like the brother was saying, the Lord is going to make his voice known. We're not gonna need to speak for the Lord, like Gideon told the men that tried to basically come in. I think it was Gideon's father, when they basically were mad that he cut down the I think it was the grove or the shrine of Baal, and so that's why he called him, I think, Jerubbaal or something like that. But he basically said, "Are you gonna contend for Baal? If Baal is a god, let him speak for himself." Gideon messed up his idol, right? So let him punish Gideon. You out here like you speaking like Baal's defenseless. And in our time, it's going to be the same thing. The Lord's going to speak for himself. He's going to be like, "Look, step back. I got this." All right. I'm not your God for no reason. I'm the living God. So I got to show my power. And you best believe once the Lord shows his power, man, everybody's going to be quiet.
The Lord said that no battles is his battle. So we're going to fight our battles. Like we're going through a perfect time of war with evil right now, but we got to sit back and be patient. That's why he said this is the patience of the saints. So we got to sit back and let him do his work, right? So y'all think y'all getting off on us by attacking us in whatever spiritual ways or physical ways? Trust me, we got to back up that's better than anybody else.
That's right.
2 Ezra 15:5, and it reads, "Behold," verse 6, "because unrighteousness have taken the upper hand on earth, and their wickedness knoweth no bounds."
Now, is that not the case right now? Has not unrighteousness taken the upper hand on the earth right now? How do you know that? They hate us. The world thinks that there's literally a group called the Southern Poverty Law Center that deemed us a hate group. We're a hate group. We're a hate group. Your president just said a civilization is going to die. And then he said that the only reason the Iranians are alive is to negotiate. So we are the hate group, but your president is the president of your country is saying all these things. But we're the hate group. How are we the hate group when we're speaking against these outlandish, horrendous violence and danger? If you really listen to the message, the people that we speak harshly against, look at why we speak harshly against them. If you notice, we don't really, I mean, yeah, we going on these heathens, but you don't really hear brothers going against Elamites like that. You know what I mean? Or like some like Scandinavian tribe somewhere that, let's say, are not Israelites. The main focus is on Esau, Edom. But why? Ask yourself that. Yo, why do they always like speak with, when they go into the scriptures, they bring out judgments against Esau and this. But why? Why is that the case? You got to think about that. And if you did from a reasonable standpoint, from somebody without getting in your emotions, it's like Esau's put the spell on them to where it doesn't matter what nation you're of. If you hear somebody speak against Esau, there's a problem. Go and find out why it is. Because now when you see the behavior of Amalek and the things they're doing, it should be clicking in your head. Damn, you know what? These guys really are as evil as they come. When you look at history and you look at all the things they did, is it not? I mean, how are we the hate group for being upset about the evil things, not just that they did, but that they continue to do? The world is messed up right now because of them. They use beaver anus to coat the candy that you eat. You know what I'm saying? They take cells from aborted fetus babies. You know, they aborted fetus cells in certain food products. Okay? You know what they do? They go out of their way to take abominable and unclean products and put it in things that don't belong in there. You want to know how? Look at certain cereal and look at certain food products in America. Look at the ingredients and look at the same food products in a foreign country and look at the ingredients. You're going to wonder, why does, I don't know, a milk chocolate drink have natural and artificial flavors and products in there? Bioengineered products. Nigga, what does bioengineered products got to do in soup? Last time I checked, you could literally boil water with tomatoes and chicken and blah, 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 cut a couple herbs in there, put some salt in there, and you got you some soup. No. If it doesn't have bioengineered products, it's not soup. You can't, if it's not grown in a lab, you can't eat it. Okay? If the fertilizer has not been touched by us, if we don't provide you the seeds, if what's the name of that company? Yeah, I forgot the name. The Monsanto is not involved in your farming and seed gathering, then it ain't right and you can't have it. So they go out of their way to do all of these things. And then you turn around and call us a hate group. They're trying to limit. They literally have a depopulation agenda.
Hey, Howard Shaw said he hates to despise the feast days, so that makes him a hater. Does that make him a leader of a hate group?
Right.
Because we all hate evil. We hate the wickedness that y'all got imposed on this world. So y'all want to call somebody a hate group, whatever. But at the end of the day, y'all do things that's hateful.
Right.
All right, y'all commit atrocities. Y'all commit murder, rape. All right, y'all rob, y'all bomb. That's hateful.
Mm-hmm.
So the sinful act of being a hateful person doesn't make you hateful. I mean, the righteous hate that we have for wickedness doesn't qualify us as being a hate group, right? The hater is the violence, the wickedness, the poisoning, all right? So when you analyze that, you see who's real hate group, you'll find out that the people that y'all trying to defend are the real hate group, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, just to back up what the brother was just saying, both of them, look at what they did to the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians. They literally took a whole land from another nation and then called it theirs. And then what did they do? They raped the women. They right? They defraud you of your wages. They what is that? Got free labor off you. All these different things. But yet, we're the haters. When did we take another landmass from another group of people? When did we rape and rob and steal from other people? Now, don't get twisted. Our people are wicked, and we have done wicked things, but we haven't done the things that Esau Edom has done. The things that you do is international. You do things that they cannot do. They could just shoot up somebody in their neighborhood. Yeah, I'm not saying that's not wrong, but you set bombs on other people. Like, what you call it? I was watching one of the Yashwama's News and Prophecy videos, and they was going to that guy, Ben Shapiro. He would say, oh, America's doing great work and all. It's like, yo, they're bombing little kids, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to say again, they're bombing little children. And you say, some people even say, oh, they're doing God's work. Really? So now they're doing God's work. But let's bring out, I forgot what that precept is. I know it's the Psalm, I think it's 137. Dash that little one so. Oh, listen to these guys. You hear that? Dash the little one so. But you're bombing children, but yet we're the evil ones. You're doing things that are like, yo, you're destroying, trying to push these people out of their life. You hear how these Amalekites, these so-called Jewish people talk? Get them out of here. We hate them. They shouldn't exist. But we're the hateful ones. We're the ones that's what's wrong with it. Just like the brother's saying, just listen and just look at the things that they're doing. And just analyze and be like, yo, do you really think that these people are good people? Right? It says people like say good people. Listen to how they talk. Listen to the things that they want. Kill all of them. Get rid of them. All of them should be gone. When they say all of them should be gone, what I'm saying, that's ethically cleansing. Get rid of the man, get rid of the children, get rid of the man, the woman, the children, get rid of them all, is what they're saying. But yet, you put the finger on us and look at these guys are bad. Like I just gave the example. Dash that little one's song. See, these guys, they're saying they're evil. They say, dash that little one's song. Happy shall he be that dancing in the blood of his enemy. Yeah, you see that type of stuff? But you're literally committing bloodshed across the world. You're breaking treaties. You're breaking agreements that you make with people. You're talking about instituting a ceasefire, but then it's like you're just doing things that, fuck, we don't really like that. What did you say Trump said? He didn't really want to negotiate with them.
Yeah, he said the only reason they're alive is to negotiate, but they ain't got no cards.
So if he didn't want to negotiate, I'm gonna just keep bombing them. I'm gonna keep attacking them.
Yeah.
What is that? I'm sorry for being long-winded, but Maduro, he's walking there and stolen. Like, yo, what the hell is that?
Go at it.
But this worthy issue, though, who do we go in another country and steal somebody out of their land? Who do we literally? You came over. The people over there, what you call savages, the Native American Indians, were kind to you. They taught you how to live on this land and things like that. When you were sick, they were good to you. They did everything kind to you. Even our people. The amount of evils that you have done to people, our people have been nothing but peaceful unto you. Right? I'm saying that song. He had put forth his hands against such that be at peace with him. But here it is. You just continue just showing your rage, showing your anger, showing how much you hate. You were going into the food. Is that not a person showing you how much they hate you, that they're putting all this stuff, let alone the chemtrails and things like that? But hey, I love you guys. I'm here for you. I want to make life best for you. But yeah, here it is. I can't breathe good air because of the stuff that you put there. I can't eat good food because of the stuff that you put. Even society alone, all the things that they put. The dynamic, but hey, a woman could be the same as a man and things like that. That messes up people's mind. That shows that they don't like you. Even their own people. Fuck you niggas. I don't like you people either. But yeah, we're the hateful ones because we're calling for order. We're calling for structure. But we're the hateful ones.
Yeah, real quick. This is the example of the hypocrisy, right? Trump will come out and say that the Iranians are a terrorist regime. They're evil people, and we can't allow them to continue doing this evil work. So we got to go in there and destroy them, right? That's basically the rhetoric he pushes. We got to destroy them. So that's his justification. They're evil. They've done evil. They're killing their people, and they're doing X, Y, and Z. So we need to destroy them, and then we can bring peace. And then we tell you, well, the Edomites are evil people. Look at the history and the thing they've done. They're the real terrorists of the earth. But the Heavenly Father needs to destroy them and get them off the earth so that we can bring peace. I got you, bro. But we are a hate group because of that. But your president is glorified because he's doing a good work. You hear the hypocrisy? It's the same thing, but we're the hate group because of that. You got it, bro.
I'm sorry, Harlan. Just real quick. Sorry. Just real quick. Also, just to add on to what you're saying, again, we're not doing anything. We're
Right.
just speaking.
Right.
That's all. The entire thing that we're doing here, and the brother's also going to say so as well. We're just speaking, but they're actually doing stuff. Look at that. They're doing things. We're just saying things. We just come out here and, quote unquote, according to people, annoy you on the street, but they're actually doing stuff.
So we the
Hey, Shalom, Akim. Can y'all hear me all right? Y'all hear me? God, beautiful. Yeah, I was gonna say that it's heavy that y'all brothers is breaking out this point because that's the spirit of the Lord, right? As is written, as the title goes, what happens next, right? And in the sense of prophecy, we know the MOTB is next. All right, we know the time of Jacob's trouble being intensified is next. We know what's going to be happening to the persecution of Jakes, especially the prophets. We all know these things, but also we understand that at the end of it all, the Lord is going to bring that judgment upon the wicked, Esau, Edom. Whether they come up with a narrative to try to dehumanize us, whether they come up with a narrative to try to come against the Heavenly Father and His Son directly, right? Because they do it on a small scale. But even if they take that step, regardless of what they do, the end of it for them is no mercy. The Lord is going to utterly destroy them. And I don't know if I still have. There you go, right here. And I'm going to read something real quick, and then we're going to bring something else out real fast. Now, this is the book of Psalm, chapter 139, and verse 9. Start off at 19, because they said that we're a hate group, right? And they try to use that word hate to demonize the truth. All right. Nowadays, you notice in this society, anyone who speaks the truth about anything, they label you hateful. They label you hate. Oh, that's hate. Oh, why you hating on me? Well, what do you mean hate? Even if you ask a question, they call it hate because that's the society now. People can't really have full conversations from opposing sides. People can't so-called debate. People can't have like like the political way of saying it. They can't engage in a robust exchange of ideas. You know what I'm saying? They can't really do that. All right. So it ends up becoming, oh, you just hating on me. That's why you're saying that. Oh, you can't be like, yo, you're doing this because you hate on me. No, the fact is, we are on a different level when it comes to regular people because we're men of the Lord. All right. The men of the Lord, we're not to cater to society. We're here to tell you the wrongs in society. And if you don't repent, the judgment that's going to come. So our office of our duty, our call of duty is completely different from everybody else. All right. So we don't fall in the same category. That's why these elites have to come up with a supernatural way of demonizing the men of the Lord. All right. Because you can't just go about just, oh, I'm going to arrest them because they spoke from the Bible. So you got to come up with something else. Okay, now this is a book of Psalm where King David said, Psalm chapter 139, verse 19, it says, surely thou wilt slay the wicked, O Yahweh, depart from me, therefore, ye bloody men. Okay, who are the bloody men? The same men that are going out there seeking blood. Like Shalomah said, they're bombing little children, babies, little girls. And before they carry out any of those airstrikes in the military, they have a chain of command. They have certain procedures to go through. You can't just go out and just bomb shit. You have to certify who you're bombing, right? The kind of land, the kind of threat, all these different things. So when the whole thing started, before they even killed the Ayatollah, remember they bombed up the little school that was next to the military base of the Iranians. And they said, oh, Iran did it. Oh, we have no idea what happened. Oh, we were targeting, we felt like there was the military dudes was in there, so we tried to hit them up. No. Before they did all that, they had to know exactly who was there. They saw the children's faces looking up, and then they bombed them, man. That's Esau for you. All right, so none of this stuff is happening by accident. They keep on lying. You got military troops saying that the narrative that they gave the American people about going over there to try to rescue one of them guys over the Easter and shit like that, that was all fake. Okay, one of the guys said that they went in there unprepared. Some of the guys, some of the military men died on that so-called operation, man. But they don't want to tell the American people that. Whenever the press asks them, what's the casualty number? You know what they say? Oh, it's a number. We're still trying to figure out what's going on. Fuck out of here, man. Continue verse 20. It says, for they speak against thee wickedly, and thine enemies take thy name in vain. All the stuff that there's going on right now. Have you noticed that you got Hexeth and all these people, MAGA, which is a witchcraft cult, right? It's a cult. Now they're using so-called Christianity to further their agenda. You notice that everything they say now is, oh, God anointed Trump to do this. Jesus anointed Trump to go cause Armageddon. You know, or we're doing this in the name of God. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit, Shalakia, 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah, it's still audible, but it's just a little. Yeah. Nah, no audio now. No, no, no. Nah, you on mute. You gotta unmute. Gotta unmute your mic. It's muted.
Can you hear
There
me
you go.
now?
Yep.
There you go. The water. Yep.
Mhm.
So, yeah, going back to what I was bringing out, verse 21, Psalm chapter 139, verse 21 says, "Do not I hate them, O Lord Yahweh, that hate thee? And am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies." Okay, so Esau could push this narrative of, pushing violence in the name of God, but the Most High isn't that type of God. He's not going to justify your wickedness to bring harm upon people, right? You can't go around the whole earth causing all this treachery, bloodshed, all right, blasphemy, and then turn around and say, "Oh, the Most High is fighting on our behalf." You can't do that. And then they try to demonize us for bringing out the truth and calling us a hate group, man. That's crazy. Okay? That is crazy. That's hypocrisy at an all-time high. But ultimately, the Lord has judgment for Esau, Edom. Let's get this real quick. The book of Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5, it says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred," okay, that's who you are. You have hate in your heart. That's why you keep on projecting this concept of, oh, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans are the real hate group. That's not true. All right? Because like Shalman Bakar said, we're just speaking these things because we're prophets. All right? We're not physically telling you we're going to do something to you. We don't even want to do anything to you because it's not going to be satisfying for any of us to touch any of you devils. It's not going to be satisfying. We want to see the Lord bring that judgment. We want to get to the point where the Lord gives us that spiritual power where we could really do damage, like real damage, and we'll be justified. All right, just like how you think you're the ones who's destroying Amalek, we gonna really destroy Amalek when the time comes. All right. So it says here, it says, "And has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity." All right, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not or hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. And who's that talking about? We use the word evil, we use the word wicked. Now let's see who the Lord is really talking about. It says here, "Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in all thy rivers shall they fall." And it says, "Shall they fall that are slain with the sword? I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy city shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai." Now, before I pass on to the next brother, I want to bring this out. We always do this from time to time. All right, but this time is very prevalent because everybody's paying attention. Okay? When you go into the Zondervan's Bible Dictionary and you look up the word Edom, here's what it says. I'm going to get that for you right now. Okay? It says here, it says Edom, right here. Right here. It says Edom, right? Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. We just read some of the judgments in Ezekiel 35. Okay, the Lord's going to make you completely desolate, right? It says here, she is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from the Most High. Any promise of mercy from the Most High. And now we see why the Lord is not going to have mercy upon these devils. You see the way they're living right now. The whole world hates these devils, man. I forget who was saying, I think it was Gerald Celente. And he was saying that America was hated at some point, but now everybody hates America. Okay, and Israel. There's a lot of people who are now today, when the whole October 7th thing started, they were all rooting for Israel. Like, oh, that's God's chosen people. They shouldn't be attacked. The scriptures tell you in the book of Ezekiel that at the end, the nations are going to come against Israel and all this extra. They didn't really understand what Israel that's talking about. until the Lord says, okay, give me some time. I'm going to show you what's going on. And now they can see with their own eyes, and they're saying, yo, Israel's actually the one starting all this shit. Whenever countries come together to say, hey, we have a ceasefire, we have a peace deal, Israel's the one who's fucking it up. What's going on? And why is America back in this shit? You see, so the Lord is exposing all this. Everything we've been saying about these countries and these nations and these evil Edomites, the Lord is exposing everything in these last days. Okay? The man of sin being revealed in these last days. All right? Esau being made bare. All right? Uncovering the legs, uncovering the thigh. The Lord is the one who's doing all these things, man, exposing these devils before he brings that judgment. All right? So now nobody has an excuse. You can't keep on defending evil and then say that, oh, God is going to destroy you for calling out the evil. Nah, it don't work like that. Remember, we are the prophets. We have to say all these things, man. We get to say things that most people wouldn't say because it's coming from the words of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. All right? So yeah, we hate you with a perfect hatred because you hate the good. You call the good evil and the evil good. We can't do that. We can't go down with that. So we have to call it out. All right? We are only the only voice of reason upon the face of the earth. We have to call it out. All right? Because ultimately the scriptures is the standard. I don't care what Esau says. I don't care what their law states. Guess what? We live in an illegal society anyway. What happened to the laws? They don't follow the laws. Nobody's held accountable anymore. So everything got to come back to the scriptures because clearly these laws don't work. Okay? Because if they did, you wouldn't have niggas like Trump in power. All right? So we got to bring everything and everyone subject back to the scriptures. That's how this thing is going to get corrected. All right? Yeah, brothers got it.
Psalms 5 and 4. For thou art not a God that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. So yeah, like it says, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai does not have pleasure in wickedness, man. So the Lord is not pleased with you going and bombing all these different countries. The Lord is not pleased with you bringing violence and death upon the earth. And the only reason the Lord is allowing this is so that he can judge you and make an example in the end. And that's what's about to happen, right? Donald Trump, the elites, Stephen Miller, Scott Bessent, all of these demons and these devils, okay, they're all going to be judged. And you have even people within your own government, even Tucker Carlson, he's an Edomite. And he's telling you, yo, this is going too far. Even the wicked are seeing that you're wicked. You see? So, yeah, go ahead.
Donald Trump just erected or he's planning to build an archway in Washington D.C. in the name of In God We Trust. It's an archway with a depiction of a Roman saint or whatever on the top of it. That's not what the Lord stands for. Actually, that's idol worship. All right, so y'all saying in God We Trust, but y'all building a golden calf pretty much in commemoration of the Most High when he don't need that. He don't want that. Right? That's wickedness when y'all build up idols in the Most High's name. The archway formed in the Washington Monument. Commemoration of the Most High saying that God We Trust. That's blasphemy, man. Then you got a naked Roman gods or whatever as a statue on top of it. Y'all the most worst people that lowest of the heathen, man.
And brothers have spoke about how that goes back to the Arch of Titus, which commemorated their conquest of Jerusalem. All right, so Titus being the son of Vespasian, which was a Roman general that was responsible for that. So that was an arch. They erected an arch in order to basically glorify their victory over us. So if that's what he's doing, that's why we know that's a sign that he's getting ready to come against you tribes. And he also posted, as you mentioned, I was listening in, that you put the hammer video that he posted on X. He posted the explicit version of that hammer video. Yeah, Trump posted that on X. I mean, I'll double check, but that's what I saw. And then he said he had a whole list of, well, this is why we have to have these, because he was Haitian, the dude that did it, allegedly, So that's how you know that they're getting ready to come down with great wrath. All right.
But what does the scripture say? The joy of the hypocrite is but for a moment. Because as the brother said, they running on this Christian national thing, but your president himself is a damn demon, and he doesn't represent any so-called Christian values, which none of these people that are claiming it do either, right? When he dropped that Trump Gaza video, there was bearded women or bearded women, all right, TGs dancing in the video. So what the fuck is that about? But they're putting it right in your face, and the MAGA is just like, oh, I don't see that. You know, that's just Trump. He just does stuff like that. It's right in your face. This dude is the physical counterpart of Satan. People don't register that in their minds. This man is the physical embodiment of Satan, of darkness, of evil. Palpatine, okay? Palpatine Trump. All right? That's him. And that's who you are all running on this whole war. Armageddon. He's going to bring in Armageddon and he's the savior. The small hats are saying that basically he's the savior. He's their Cyrus. That's what they're saying. I even think they made a coin to commemorate it. And everybody else is Amalek. Wait a minute. Amalek is one tribe. So everybody's Amalek? Palestinians was Amalek. The Persians Amalek. Anybody you don't like is Amalek. Nigga, you're Amalek. That's the crazy shit about it. Nobody even brought up Amalek. But here you go talking about it. That's because you have a guilty conscience. And they hear us saying that they're Amalek. So they're like, nah, we got to redirect it. See? But that's what happened. That's what hypocrites do. And the hypocrite goes back to the word, the etymology goes back to being an actor. And your president was a reality TV star, man. Basically a game show host. All right? Rubbing elbows with the Hollywood elite. Now all of a sudden he's the Christian national guy.
Yeah, but now he's praising Allah.
And now he's praising Allah 1 minute, and it's just a big ball of confusion. But Christians don't want to talk about that at all. Elder Yashabamba had mentioned that in his lesson, that this whole thing about them saying everybody's Amalek, well, wait a minute, who's Amalek? This is some shit you got to address. They don't want to talk about that at all, though.
Where vocab at?
Right.
Going to vocab, Edomites done away with. So you're not going to go and fight BB when he calls these other nations Amalek. You're supposed to jump on your screen on your videos and say no, he's going off. Yeah, the Edomites are done away with, and these are the scriptures to prove it. But no, you ain't gonna do that because it came from him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's only wrong when we say somebody's Amalek. When
Right.
we mentioned Esau, and he just says it. No history, no backing, no breakdown. We actually showing you through history how they are the Edomites, that their blessing is the sword, that they go back to Mount Seir. Okay, Obadiah, you can see all of the connections. That thou exalt thyself as the eagle. That's their mascot. Okay, so it's plainly obvious. I'm gonna read a little more on this. Psalms 5:5. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest all workers of iniquity. See? The Lord said what? He hates all workers of iniquity. Okay? So you are all workers of iniquity. So the Lord does hate. They want to talk about this love thing, love, but is that love? Are those bombs filled with love that you're sending over to these different countries? When you bombed all those school children and the school girls in Persia, was that love? When you go and do all these other things and all of the things that you did to us throughout history, was that love? Feeding our children as alligator bait. And the brothers told me to watch the movie Prince of Egypt, which is basically an animated depiction of the Exodus, which I was surprised it was pretty accurate. There was some discrepancies, but it was pretty accurate. And at one point they showed the Egyptians, which they putting it in your face, they show the Egyptians feeding the babies to crocodiles in Egypt. So that's a sign of where else did that happen? That happened here. Okay? That happened here, right here, in what you call the good old US of A. That's what happened to our people. So the Lord said he hates the workers of iniquity. And that's sin upon sin upon sin. You're laden, you're drenched with sin. Psalms 5:6. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. And what is leasing? Lies. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. I mean, that's the perfect description of who you have in power right now. Bloody,
Okay, they shed blood and it's nothing to them. You know, they're playing with Armageddon, and to them it's nothing. If the Heavenly Father through His Son Yahweh Shai don't interject, they would kill billions of people, and they would not lose an ounce of sleep over that. So the only hope we have is in Yahweh Shai coming back to take us from that, because that's what's inevitably coming. So seeing those signs, you got to understand and trust in the Lord, man, because that's the only way we're getting out of the situation. We don't have the power to take this man down. All right, we don't have missiles. We don't have drones. We don't have a standing army. We have one in the heavens, all right, which is all spiritual, but you got to have faith to believe that. But as it appears on the surface level, we don't have power to take this man down. But the power is in the word. So we don't have the carnal power, but we have the spiritual power. And by the preaching of this word, he is being brought down because he's subject to everything that the Lord's servants say from this book, man, through the Rakak Wadash. So he said he abhors the bloody and deceitful man. Abhor is to hate. Okay? So the bloody and deceitful, and everything he does is deceit. Right now, they said they're just going to clear out the strait. You think Iran is just going to accept that? They went and said, the foreign ministers of Iran said, we don't have any faith in these talks whatsoever. We have no faith in the Americans and the so-called Israelis at all. And who can blame them? I mean, they've been deceived so many times, but really what they're doing now is looks like they're all reloading, but we'll see how it plays out. But it looks like they all just reloading, getting ready for the next, because they wanted to close Operation Epic Fury, and now it's okay. That was a success, which it wasn't. It was an epic failure because they didn't accomplish anything. If anything, they made Iran more powerful. Shalom, brother. Shalom, brother. Good. But yeah, they want to close the book on the Operation Epic Fury, okay, and say, well, that was a success. Now they're going to open up a new operation. And now they're going to go even harder this time is what it seems, but we'll see how it plays out. We just are reporting and watching.
I'm trying to recollect my first point, what you were saying about earlier. I forgot it, but I'm gonna just say it, see where the spirit lands with it. But I forgot was that I know it's the FBI director. I don't know if he's not still the FBI.
Hey, person, Rick?
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he still is.
yeah, but I remember he was talking to an Israelite woman, or what people perceive as a.
In the court, in the lower
Yeah,
court.
he was mentioning us. He was talking about what they would label as the Black Hebrew Israelites, and she kept saying, "Okay, what did they do?"
Karen Bass from Cali.
The water.
LA.
And essentially, she kept saying, "Okay, you bringing these guys up," but it's like, well, what did they do? It's the same thing like we were saying earlier. It's like you're gonna label us and say that we're evil, but okay, what did we do? Why are you bringing these guys up that are pretty much innocent? They just stand in a corner. Yes, do you have some riffraffs out there, some dudes that do some wild shit? Absolutely. And do some real weird stuff where they get sprayed in the eye with pepper spray? Yes. But for the most part, they're pretty peaceful. They don't bother you. So it's like, why are you bringing them up? You're bringing them up as if they're a threat, like they're really about to do something. And then the second point I'm bringing up this precept, when we were bringing up how they were bombing children, this is Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 17. It says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them," which the Medes represent the Russians, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Verse 18, "Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eye shall not spare children." Their bows goes into those missiles. So the same way, hey, you're bombing children, you're not having any pity. Well, when it comes back to you, it's going to be the same thing that you're going to receive, because what? You didn't have no mercy on other people's children. Therefore, what? The Lord's not going to have mercy on your children either by using the Russians. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yep. So let's go back to 2nd Esdras 15, and I think we were on verse 6. All right, verse 6. That's why all the events, all the things that are written in the scriptures are the way that they are. See, like when you first come into the truth, it's hard to understand. You know, you need some time to be able to understand, like Jeremiah, to wrap your head around the fact as to why these judgments are the way they are. Right? Why is the Lord speaking so harshly, right, against the people of this world, against wickedness? But it isn't until your mind is open and your eyes can see and your ears can truly hear, and then you experience what life is like living in a wicked world. then you really realize, okay, this world is wicked as all shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's wicked as hell. You know, like if you've been raised in darkness your whole life, you don't really know how dark it is. It isn't until you're exposed to light that you're like, oh, damn, that was real dark where I used to be. So it's the same thing, right? We were in this world. We were, you know, walking as though we were of this world in darkness. But now the Lord has opened up our eyes so we can see just how dark exactly this world is. And then you understand why these judgments are so harsh. Then you can see, oh, when they saying this, when they doing that, this is really what they mean. You guys got it.
2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth.
Yeah, wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. There was a I don't know if it was a what to even call it. It's like one of those meetings where you have either some member of either some congressional member or some Senate member or whatever, and maybe it was a hearing. But basically, he's reading these files that were approved by the far left liberalist agenda people, and he's reading it. He's like, "You guys signed off on files about dual spiritualism or something like that." One of them was how to make if I remember correctly, I think it was like how to make like queer people or maps. Yeah. How to make maps, which is an acronym for minor attracted persons, because they don't want to come out and say PDF files, so they call them maps. And they said this is about how to make maps more gay. He's like, how to make them gayer. And the guy is reading, and he's reading like, "Oh, so what's this about? Can you explain this to me? Why are we funding how to make maps more gayer? Because apparently they can then push them under the alternative lifestyle umbrella better, you know, and they don't make them look so bad because they're the black sheep of the alternative lifestyle community. Because people say, you know what happened?
He also said that that girl you're talking about, I think it was a hearing in Congress, right? She was also saying that they wanted to actually physically make the maps, like the geographic maps, gayer. That's what she was saying too. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? How you gonna do that? The guy was confused. Like, how do you do that? Well, how? She's like, oh, basically like the colors. Like, we gonna make it more like tailored to like homo shit type shit. Like, make it more like homoerotic, even for kids. Like, what kind of shit is this, man? But you got it, bro. Towards the
You're right. I think that is what it is. The water. That's what it is. So you want to exactly how are you gonna make a because if you color the maps a certain way, that ain't gonna make it more, right? It's about what you're trying to push in these different regions even more, you know. And I did a lesson, I think yesterday or the day before, about Canada. They basically passed a bill that is like moving forward, I think, to the Senate on basically banning or declaring certain Bible verses if you even quote some of these Bible verses as hate. You know, like basically a criminal offense. Okay. And basically some of the books that he listed were Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Romans. Now, when you go into Leviticus, Deuteronomy, you know what you're going to find in there? Leviticus 20 and 13. You're going to find in there the precepts about not lying with mankind as you lie with womankind. You're going to find all of those in there because he's going into the laws. And he's saying, well, no, if you quote this right, if you go over here, then that's a violation of that. So as we just read, wickedness is polluted the whole earth, the face of the earth. And you know it's polluted because the majority of these people don't see anything wrong with it. Got it?
So again, verse 6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled.
Yeah. So what the Lord did, just like he does with almost every empire, is he gives you a measure. Okay, he gives you a measure, and once you feel it, once you fill up that measure, your kingdom goes down. So at this point in time, the wickedness, the measure of this society has filled up to the brim. Okay, and now it's time for the destruction to come forth. And there's no doubt about it. If you're being real with yourself, you know that there's some facet of this world that is just wicked, straight up wicked, up and down. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Got it.
Verse 7. Therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness.
Yeah, when you hold your tongue, meaning that it's like saying you're holding your peace. So the Lord is saying, I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to be reserved anymore concerning their wickedness. Got it.
which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things.
Yeah, they profanely commit this wickedness. And when you tell them about it, they get mad at you. And then they call you the wicked. You wicked because you're calling out their wickedness. And you're going to see that here. See, even when it's interesting because when you look at what the Iranians are posting, because what they'll do is they'll release these AI videos and they'll use like some Lego characters and stuff, and they'll start posting truth in there. You know, with the whole Baal, the burning of it, and all of those. Like, why do you think they compare that to Esau? Now remember, they're of the Islamic faith. We are not. We're of scriptures. So why are they saying the same things then? When it comes to you, Esau, Edom, when it comes to who you are, when it comes to the truth of the scriptures or the truth in general, because the truth is religion agnostic. It doesn't matter what, like, okay, you didn't say, okay, well, 2 + 2 is not 4 because I'm Muslim, but a Buddhist thinks that 2 + 2 is 4 because he's Buddhist. No, all of you are going to say the same thing because the truth is truth. It doesn't matter what you are, what language you speak, what color your skin is. The truth is the truth. Got it.
Which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves.
Yeah, when you suffer something, you tolerate it. So the Lord said, I'm not going to tolerate you committing these wicked and lewd acts. Got it.
Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me.
And that's the blood of those that have died, you know, at the hands of this wicked world. And it cries. See, when people die and they go to the spirit world, they're more aware. You know, they're more aware, and they cry to the Lord like, damn, because in the spirit world, you're in your right mind. And when you're in your right mind, you realize, like, you see the bigger picture. When you go in there, you may have had a beef with somebody and then pow, they shot your ass, right? Or maybe a cop pulled out a gun and blasted you. But when you're in the spirit world, you're like, Lord, this is all Esau's fault. You know, it's bigger than just this cop. Because you see the greater picture there. And you like, the reason he's able to do that is because this devil right here. You know? So the blood cries onto the Lord for justice. Justice needs to be had. Justice, the Lord needs to bring justice, and he's bringing it. It's on its way.
Just to add to you, Job 15:34, for the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery.
You know why it says fire? Because the difference between water and fire is water leaves things behind. You know, if your house gets flooded, you're gonna come back and your house might still be there. It's just there's gonna be damages, but the house is still there. TV don't work, but it's still there. But if you put fire in there, fire destroys. Like, you come back, and if the fire is strong enough, maybe nothing standing, just ashes. You know, and maybe if the foundation of the building is strong enough, but the things inside, your carpet, your TV, all that shit is gonna be burnt.
Well, just to add to your example, we'll look at the flood.
Mm-hmm.
The whole earth was flooded,
Right.
but it all came back eventually.
Yep.
Because it dried out, you know, the sun shine, and that's the Lord's will. But when you're dealing with fire, especially the type of fire that's going to consume and make desolate, it says consume the tabernacles of bribery, all right, which their whole kingdom is established off bribery, wickedness. All right, you get rewarded for doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is taking bribes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's doing from the small hats.
Yeah, lobbying.
Exactly. APAC and all that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but just to drill in the point that when that fire comes, this whole continent is going to be like that for eternity. The fire leaves that permanent mark. That's why when you read about scriptures about the fire and the burning, it says that burneth forever.
Right.
Because essentially it's going to remain burnt forever.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't like, all right, it's burnt and now it's going to come back. No, you're going to see it as it is. It's going to be like that desolate wasteland, that desert.
Yeah, the damage is gonna be permanent. Yeah. Like, if somebody drowns, but not unto death, you know, they're underwater, you can revive them. You know, you get all the water out of them and they can still live. If somebody gets burned, you're not reviving. Their face is like messed up. You're not reviving that. Their nose is gone. Their skin is melted. That you can't reverse that.
Better off there.
Yeah.
If they survive. Because some people survive those crazy burns.
Mhm.
Like, yo, they should just let you die.
Yeah,
Like, better off just dying because there's fate's worse than death.
Yep.
Yeah. Face. Yeah. Either explosion, and his face was marred and fucked up.
Yeah.
Just to finish it, they conceive Job 15:34. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and their belly prepareth deceit.
Yeah, and that their belly is, so it doesn't mean that their stomach is literally popping out, writing out plans and shit for them. It's talking about their mind, their thoughts. Okay, it prepares deceit because that's them. That's their nature. That's the first thing they think about. All right, this person wants to have a fair deal with me, but can I get more if I deceive them? You know what I'm saying? All right, let me do that. I'd rather stab them in the back and get a couple more than to have a fair deal with them. No, that's their nature. That's their mindset. That's why they got. See, no, but there's a time for that. There is a time for that. But now we are getting to the point where we are getting past that time, and so there's no need for them.
And the belly is called the second brain
Mhm.
because it has all those nerve in it, and it's directly tied to your brain.
Right.
So like the things that you eat, it affects your mindset. So that's why when you hear the scriptures, it talks about belly, it's really talking about your mind. But those two are tied together as well.
Mhm.
So and also when you think with your belly, that means you're a very carnal person. You just think about what you can consume. Most people out here think with their belly. That's why they're big as hell.
That's it. Yeah, sometimes you have to. No, yeah, too late. Sometimes you you have certain cravings, and it's because you got certain parasites in your body, and people forget that. People don't not even forget. Some don't even know that they have an influence on your mind. You wonder, well, how's the external creature like a parasite inside of you gonna affect your actual thoughts? Guess what? It does. All right, it still does. So when you have them sweet, like an unusual sweet cravings, it's like, yo, what's going on here? That's them. They're like, yeah, they feed me, and you think it's you, but that's why it's called a craving. You got it.
Continue in verse 8. The innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually.
Yeah, and we're complaining continually too, right? We're complaining continually unto the Lord. Now you notice it says the souls of the just, right? Why? Because the wicked are not going to have a problem. They're right at home. The wicked feel right at home in a wicked world, but the just don't feel at home in a wicked world. That's why the innocent and just complain unto the Lord continually, like a lot. That's with the filthy conversation, which is the lifestyle of the wicked. So how much more for us when these people exceed what was going on in Sodom, Gomorrah, and the neighboring cities over there? Because they were on a whole nother level. Now the thing with them is, they see a man. It's like a whole bunch of Fleece Johnson just spawned up in the street, Except they took it a step further. They were the animals and all that shit. Yeah, he definitely. You know what I'm saying? Like wandered over there and
Rose up to play.
they rose up to play. Hey, but today, not only do they have that mindset and that energy, they got laws and stuff to protect them. And it shows you how hypocritical they are, right? Somebody come and ask you, "Oh, are you for or against? For or against what? Oh, I see you against, huh? Oh, I see you one of them." Now they will discriminate against you. They will say that you are, you're this and you're this and you're this because you don't agree or you're not for people that are of the alternative lifestyle community. So then they'll say, it's not about them per se. It's about just people having rights. People should be able to express themselves and their opinions and their thoughts without being judged for it. And then when you express yourself and your opinion and thoughts, they judge you for it. But the same people are telling you we're fighting for people to be able to express their thoughts, opinions, and feelings without being judged for it. Is that not a definition of hypocrisy? So you know what you mean to say is the thoughts, opinions of them, not of everybody. Don't say you have a problem with people being prejudiced because you're being prejudiced against people that are not for your cause. But then you're saying they're being prejudiced. So these people are a bunch of hypocrites, and when you tell them that, they're gonna look at you in the face and say, "Nah, that ain't the case." And you know how they know that it's true? They don't have any rebuttal. They don't have any of that. All they can say is, no, that's not it. That's not it. Let's talk about something else. But the Lord ain't gonna want to talk about nothing else. In fact, the Lord ain't gonna want to talk. He's just gonna have the missiles bring the action. And it's like it sounds almost surreal, right? But when you actually see a missile like they over there in them countries, which they're not getting hit with nuclear missiles, by the way. Okay, they're getting hit with drones, rockets, and other certain missiles, but these are not high tech. Like the Iranians haven't brought out their latest and advanced and most dangerous missiles, but yet they still launch missiles that hit before you even hear it. So how much more? Yeah, how much more for actually looking up and seeing nuclear missiles, and you see it, you hear it, you look up, because when you see them super fast jets, they got the sonic boom and it's very loud. You're like, oh shit, but that's a jet, and it's going somewhere else. We're talking about a nuclear missile flying overhead, and you're seeing where it's about to hit. You see it going that direction. You hear a very, very loud boom. You feel the ground shake, and then it starts to get hot. What the fuck is going on here? Oh man, it's getting hot very quickly to the point where now it's unsustainable, and then you start catching on fire because that heat wave is very, very, very fast, and then the building starts to break. Like that is the reality we're talking about here. We're not talking about some little movies that you watch over here, and it's like, oh wow, that was a crazy explosion. Oh my god, I'm glad I wasn't there.
Verse 9. 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 9. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter.
Yeah, led as a flock to the slaughter, like in the book Animal Farm. These people are like Boxer, which is the horse, and all he did was listen to everything Napoleon told him. Everything he said, he listened and did it. And guess what? At the end of the day, you know what happened to it? They took him to the slaughterhouse. And he walked right into it. He walked right into the back of the freaking truck, and they took him there because he was obedient to his death. Okay, so they're like sheep, a flock to the slaughter. Go ahead.
I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt.
Now, this ain't talking about ancient Egypt, because at the time when Ezra received this, Egypt, this is long, long, long after Egypt. This was now post-Egypt, post the time of the judges. I mean, post King David, all of that. So we know it's not talking about ancient Egypt, because Israel as a nation was not dwelling in Egypt at the time when Ezra received this. So what Egypt is this talking about? This is talking about the future Egypt, Revelation the 11th chapter. Okay, which is America. Go ahead.
Verse 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm.
Which is deliverance. And ultimately the hand of the Lord is Yahushua. So he's going to send his son back, his hand, to deliver us. But who's the them in here? The same them that's in Jeremiah 30:7. He shall be delivered out of it. That's the elect. The rest of these people, they ain't going to make it out of this. Okay, go ahead.
And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and destroy all the land thereof.
Yeah, so the Lord is going to smite, because he didn't destroy all the land of ancient Egypt, but he's going to smite this modern Egypt with plagues, like he did before. And the people today, they can't tolerate that. But he's going to do it in a more modern sense. Okay? Darkness, famine. Because when their crops were destroyed, their cattle was dead. What do you think was going on there? There was a scarcity of food. And the Lord just continued on with those plagues. It wasn't like yesterday you got hit with this and then it's over the next day and then now you're hit with something else. No, those plagues continued for a minute. And it wasn't fun. And that's what these people are going to start to go through. Go ahead.
Verse 12. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that God shall bring upon it.
Yeah, and now what you're seeing is they go on TikTok, they go on Instagram Reels, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and then they complain and they cry about their conditions that they're living in today. That's how they're mourning. You're seeing it all around the country. Gas prices are going up. People are getting upset. They're getting frustrated. They're talking about how they got to do 4 jobs. At first, it used to be 2 jobs. 2 jobs sounded crazy. Now the people doing 4 jobs. They don't sleep. They just go from one to the other, to the other, to the other, and then recycle again and again.
Yep, just to add, that dude that burned down the warehouse, he did the video. He said, if you just paid me a living wage, I wouldn't have to do this shit. Which we're not advising nobody to do that, but that's just reflective of the mindset of people right now. They're fed up and they're basically at wit's end. Because once you take the food off somebody's plate, they're going to act like an animal. They're going to get very carnal and they're going to act like a beast, a brute beast. And that's what you're going to have, especially This should keep going. Listen, they talking about the ceasefire, but I haven't seen the prices on anything going down.
Oh hell no.
So look at the prices, look at the economy, and that's reflective of what's really going on.
Mhm.
All right, and they're saying that usually with negotiations, they go from the bottom, like they'll have low level players go in there at first, and then if it doesn't work out, then they'll bring in the big guns. With these negotiations, they brought the vice president out the gate. That means that's the highest level. If this shit don't go well, which obviously we know sooner or later it's gonna go bad.
Mhm.
All right. Even if they try to put out some public bullshit, some media spin to make it look like, oh, you know, yeah, the spin Dr. E. All right. If they try to make it look like they got a favorable outcome, we know the small hat's gonna fuck that up.
Oh yeah.
Just the same way they did before. Okay. They might go ahead and say, oh, look, we got an agreement. Then all of a sudden, some new shit blows up. You know, they do some double Fs. Catch my drift.
That's it.
You know, and then before you know it, it's gonna fall apart. But the point being that this is like a do or die negotiation. They're saying, like, if this shit doesn't go well, the escalation ladder is only gonna get astronomically higher from this point on. You got it.
Hey, real quick, I was gonna say that we're not gonna take too long to see America as a whole start to deteriorate in terms of people's behavior, because people are already starting to feel the crunch right now as we speak. And I was watching the news, I believe it was yesterday or today, and they were saying that inflation as it stands right now is only up by 3%. 3%? All this shit that we saying is only 3%. I know, like Ashar said, they fudge the numbers and all that, but 3% and it's this bad. Imagine if it goes up to 10%. Imagine if it goes up to 11%. They said the gas prices is up 11%. And people already like, yo, damn, like, so it's like shit don't add up. All right. Today, the elder posted in the chat about some dude who used to work I believe he's still working at Meta. All right. He was talking about how the system is so bad. Like he said, he'd rather just be laid off and just go lie in a ditch somewhere. Just be over with this thing. Right. He's like, yo, this shit is like, he's tired of the unfair world is the word he used. He's just tired of this shit, man. He's tired of how life is. Like, no matter how much work you do, you feel like you always gonna be at the bottom of the barrel, man. This is just how, and we always say slavery used to just be about Jakes, but now it just expanded to cover everybody else. All they had to do was just change the system to cover everybody else, and now they're about to switch it over into a peonage system, meaning you're a peon and all you do is just work. That's it. You're good enough to work, and that's it. That's as far as it goes. And how they gonna do that? They got the UBI ready to go. I did a lesson on this last night. That the head of the IMF said the damage that's caused is going to leave a permanent scar. And she was speaking in code to let people know that a permanent scar on the economy, when you go into that word scar, it literally means mark. So if this thing is going to leave a permanent scar on the economy, that means that what? That means that there's going to be a change, a new normal. And if there's a new normal, that means that the people within the economy will have to be scarred, literally with a mark. Okay? So they speak in codes. They use all these different words, but we say here decoding everything they're saying because we know the end, right? We know the end goal. We know what's to come. You got people saying, "Oh, this war will end." Like Trump used the word "when this war ends." He used the phrase "when this war ends," the prices are gonna go back down. Who the fuck is you to say when this war ends, man? The Lord has no plans on ending this war. Just like the Ukraine-Russia war, it still really hasn't ended. You just don't hear too much about it, but it's still going on. Just because you may not hear about something doesn't mean it's not happening. Just because you may not have something in your plans doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Okay? So the Lord has America going on a full collision course against the major countries like Russia, China, and them. They haven't even gotten into the frame yet. You just hear them every now and again, but they haven't really gotten into the frame yet, man. The part of the prophecy where it says the Carmenians are going to be raging like a wild boar, all these countries that are in that area, they haven't even gotten together to start fighting against America yet and against Israel yet. So what do you mean when the war ends? That stage of prophecy hasn't even kicked up yet. Okay? And the Lord said, Yahushua said what? There's going to be wars and rumors of wars. So this is the stage. All right? And those wars, cold wars turn to hot wars eventually. Okay? When you already having missiles being shot, bombings and all this different stuff that's happening, eventually becomes intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay? That's the ones that's shot from one end of the earth to the other. All right, the archer's going to be shooting it, and the Lord's Spirit is going to be in it, and America is going to be completely decimated, completely destroyed. Right? It tells you in the book of Isaiah what talks about what the besom of destruction. That's what's coming here, man. That's that wiping force. Like before, you gave an example of that the hit. You hear you see the explosion. All right, you don't really hear it, right? Oh no, actually you hear it, and then eventually you see it, and then you feel it. Right? Is it two stages? You hear it, you see it, and then you feel it, and then that's the end of it. All right. But yeah, brothers, guys, that's all I wanted to bring out there. Just add on to that point.
That's right. That's right. That's why we so calm. I got you, bro. That's why we so calm, because we know what we like. We actually know what's about to happen. Now, it's like being rich in a foreign currency, and then you finally get sent over to that country. So now you can actually feel the value of the riches that you have, because now with all the things that are happening, we're not talking about things that are far off. We're talking about information that we know that will help us make firm decisions in the times that we're in. And as things get more and more intense, it's going to give us more and more stability. Like, we're not stressed. We're not stressed. Oh, well, are the talks going to succeed? Are they not going to succeed? Like, we're good. It doesn't matter what they come out and say.
I was going to say, the burden that, like you said in the book of Isaiah, the burden that Babylon has to that he has to carry is prophesied, man. That thing is definitely going to happen, right? The burden is something that you have to carry. Right? So y'all got to eat that. Y'all going to eat that. You know what I'm saying? And there's no escaping it. So y'all can do whatever y'all want to try to talk about ceasefire and all that, but these things are going to come to pass, you know? And just waiting. This is something that we've been waiting a long time for. So the whole world knows that y'all got hell to pay. Right? This is a sentence that's getting passed down, like how everybody was hoping that Epstein get found guilty or whatever, or the files get opened and revealed. These files on Esau is going to be revealed. The burden of Babylon is going to be fulfilled.
Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure.
And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. And the wisdom and knowledge that we have in the Lord, in the events that he has showed us are going to take place, is what keeps us stable in these times. We're not stressed. We're not losing sleep. We're not losing our minds as we see the world events that are taking place, because we know, okay, this is supposed to happen next. Okay, this is what's happening now. And even when they throw smoke screens, we can see right through it, because we don't need to know where exactly you are in the smoke screen. We just need to know where you're going to come out from, and we already know that. So why are we going to jump in the smoke screen with you when we can just stand on the outside and wait for your ass to come to us? You know, if I'm chasing you, but I know where your destination is, I don't need to follow your car. I'm gonna just go wait for you. You know, that's how you see them scary movies. You start wondering, wait, why he stopped following me? You know, he was chasing me. Then the dude disappeared. Then you finally get home and he's waiting for you on the stairs. If it took you long enough. So that's what's going to happen. We know every route you're taking, right? Well, we're doing this. We're having peace talks. Oh, we're having a great reset, right? He said the most powerful reset. That's what Trump said. He posted on Truth Social in all caps, I think it was the world's most powerful reset, exclamation marks, and then left it at that. No context, nothing. So, and the wife and all of them have already been talking about a reset. So that reset, it can be on many levels, you know? But what he's saying here is that there's a change, because he mentioned, I think, after the Tuesday deadline had passed and they had agreed on having some sort of talks, he mentioned about a new order. Peace in the Middle East and this and this and that, and about some new order. And they're throwing this out there, letting you know, like, yo, you know, what's that revelation of the method? You know, they're throwing it out there, like, yeah, this is where we're going. You had it right the whole time, but let's see if the rest of them catch on.
Said the world reset.
Yeah, yep. So that's where we at. And we know that it's going to be a reset. Imagine when you're playing a video game, right? And all of a sudden the power goes out. This is different than you pausing the game, hitting quit, going to save, and then closing it and then turning off the system. A reset is just boom. That's it. Everything is gone. And then it comes back on. And when it comes back on, if you were in the middle of a game and it didn't save, then the game is like it was never there. Whatever stage you were on is not there anymore. The system doesn't remember it. All it is a brand new start. See that? So once this reset hits, the things that you thought, you were doing before the reset hits, that's gone. They're gonna tell you, nah, bro, the system is not familiar with that. You got to comply with the new system, the way it is now. And that's when they're gonna come out with the C-HIP. And we've been saying this for a long time. But very soon, the C-HIP is gonna make its debut. That grain of rice is gonna make its debut. Front and center. Everybody's gonna see it. And some are gonna take it. And you ain't gonna have much time to see it and then, okay, I got a couple months to like look at it and really examine it before I decide if I want to take it or not. No, they're gonna push it with urgency. They're gonna push it with urgency. And in fact, you're gonna have people that are gonna be like, before it even comes out, like the new Jordans. I'm ready for this joint. Line me up. I'll take 2 or 3 of them bad boys if I can. You're gonna have people like that because they're gonna make it seem like it's a something very well needed, like it's food during the famine. That's what they're gonna make it seem like. And it's gonna make its debut, and it's gonna be right there. And if we're still online, you're gonna see the amount of videos that are gonna be coming out. It's gonna be like we are broken record on repeat. Because it's gonna be news after news after news after news after. I mean, they might need to shut down YouTube. Where we at? Thought I was in on that.
I was gonna say, I can see a nigga like Travis Scott getting like 3 of them shit, getting 1 in each hand, 1 in the forehead, maybe 1 in the ass cheek. Like, look, I'm fully processed. Nigga, look at me. That shit gonna be designer, Louis V symbol on the bottom. Gucci designer, Gucci collab with Elon Musk.
Right.
Neuralink. All types of shit.
I was going to mention when Haran said that, this guy too, Sam Altman, he came out and also called for the UBI. He called for a 4-day work week without deduction of pay, and then the UBI. Now, when I saw that, even I was like, oh, okay. When it came to the 4-day work week, so I'm like, yeah, they definitely gonna get you with that, because what he threw in there was a 4-day work week without a pay deduction. So you still get paid for the 5th day, but you only got to work 4 days. They come with it like it's enticing. I mean, who isn't gonna want that? You sit at home and they give you money. They're gonna be like, damn, is there like a catch to this or something like that? Like, why haven't y'all implemented this yet? The thing is, the catch is the long-term effect of it, because it doesn't stop there. Now that you're at home, what kind of life are you actually gonna live? They're gonna give you a subscription-based life before they make your life a subscription. Now you gotta subscribe to life. You want to go outside today? You have a subscription for that? You got 15 minutes of walk time, because every time you go out, you're leaving your carbon footprint, so you got to pay for that. Your boys call, yo, we going over here. Well, I ran out of carbon credits, so I'm sorry, I can't go out today. I got to wait till it resets.
That's it. Isn't that like kind of like one of them things where they give you like a test or whatever, like you try an app or something out? And
Yeah, trial.
Yeah, it's a free trial or whatever. Hey, it's a free trial. You get access to this and that for about an hour. See how you like it. Upgrade later. You gotta do a little bit more. Pay $24.99 for the full experience.
Yep. Like in Black Mirror, the episode where the guy's wife, I think she had a brain issue, and they put a C-HIP in her head, and then at first everything was all sweet until she passed the barrier, the reach of the connection, because what they were doing was there was a certain part of her brain that they took out, and then they put the C-HIP in there, the implant, and the implant, what it would do is it would basically connect to some foreign server somewhere, and that server would basically allow it would stream information into that part of her brain, which would allow her whole brain to function. So she would sleep more, right? She would sleepy all the time, and then if she passed a certain area, there's no signal. She just passed out. She's like knocked out, like shut off. She went to sleep mode, and then
Upgrade.
yeah, exactly. And then she came up to her and said, so where she first came up to him, she came like a guardian angel to save his wife's life. There is one way, and it's called C-HIP. Now, if you take the C-HIP, then she can live and she can go back to doing it. Now, why did she tell her from the start that it was going to be subscription-based? Because he would have thought twice about it. So no, don't tell him that. Tell him this is how you save his wife's life. There is one way. So now you get it, but now you already got it. So what are you going to do? Because if they take it out, she's going back to death. So what are you going to do now? And now they're like, well, it's subscription based. And then the price went from what, 1090 free for the surgery, but now you got to pay for the subscription. Now that's how they get you. That's why hospitals don't cure you; they give you treatments. Even if they gave you a treatment that costs $1 a year, but if you had maybe no, that's too little. If it costs like I don't know, $50 a year, but the treatment itself, if they gave you a cure, the operation would have been $200. They're okay with that because they know in 4 years they would have made up for that amount, and in 5 years they would have made a profit, and then in 6 years, so they know that they're gonna get a lot more, even though it sounds like it's just a little bit. So they don't need to push a expensive surgery on you, but that's the catch. That's how they get you. So just like in that Black Mirror episode, they came out with the C-hip, and you realize it's a trap. That's the catch. It's the long term effect. So go ahead and jump on that UBI. Just know that it's going to jump right back on you. Yep.
2 Ezra chapter 15 and verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and hail with a fearful constellation.
Yeah, their seed shall fail. Now, what's one of the things that they're also warning about? See, a lot of people are focusing on the oil. They're focusing on the gas prices because the gas prices are up. It's like $4 per gallon, not $4 something per gallon now. If you drive, you know how much that shit hurts. But they're also warning about fertilizer. Okay, if the soil is not adequate, it doesn't matter what seed you put in it, you ain't getting shit out. So those that are really mourning first and foremost and are sounding the alarms are the first line of contact, which are the farmers. They're the ones that till the ground. When you till the ground, you're the one who you plow, right? You have your little tractors, you create the furrows in the earth, you plant the seeds, you cover it, that kind of thing, right? They struggle first because their living or their income comes by that. But then they also warn you to say, well, listen, if I can't make a living because I can't make money off of this, you're not eating. My living comes off you eating, by the way. So if I'm not making a living, you're not either. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein.
Yeah, so overall, it's destruction onto the world and those that dwell in it because of the time period that we're in. We've entered the phase of sorrows, pain, and suffering. That is the theme of the world right now. Sorrows, pain, and suffering, and high level of uncertainty. Okay? Because when food gets involved, then it gets very, very serious. Food is something you need. But people have become so fattened, right, and so conditioned that they think that their wants are now needs, right? No, you can go 12 hours without eating, but they think that that's a need because they want to do it. Here's the thing too: these big ass niggas, when they go, it's not like they eat little portions either. So here it is: you times are tough. You know what I'm saying? You struggling and you barely got provisions, and you cutting it up for everybody. But here it is, there's this 600-pound person on the end of the line that got to eat 6 portions.
That annoying ass Jake that be doing shark bite, that nigga he gonna have to get put to sleep quick early in the game. As soon as the shit start, put his ass out, man. Don't let him get into no restaurants, man. He can't eat nothing.
No restaurants. Yeah, they gonna find him. He already got people looking for him. He got the whole internet looking for him. So the second that happens, guess what? People gonna look for him. Throw him to the sharks. Let him have a bite. Because the Most High gonna have it out for him. I mean, if we pissed off, imagine a nigga like that. You doing wickedness, and every time you eat, you sit down and do this shit. Now you take gluttony to another level. Man, shit. You may even if I'm hungry, now I don't want to eat no more. I lost my appetite. Look at this nigga. Big ass dude moving. He shouldn't be allowed to move like that. He just this shit just don't look right.
It's the embodiment of an inconsiderate nigga. You're trying to sit down with your family and eat. Like, yo, calm down, son. This nigga just disturbing the peace for no reason, bro. You got no place on the earth, man. Just get rid of this thing.
Literally. But yeah. So that's the thing, right? So as food becomes scarce, you like, yo, I cannot give you 6 portions, bro. 6 portions is literally the whole group's daily meal. So what we gonna eat? And that's where the conflict comes in. Yeah, I know, but I'm trying. What you trying to do? Get lost. So you like it's harder to now maintain with somebody like that. If everybody got to be on the move, it's like, yo, I got to take extra care for you, because you're the one in the back and I got to come back, So the problem here is when food becomes a problem, everything becomes more difficult. You have to be able to discipline yourself. But these people, they don't fast. They don't fast and they're not mentally strong and their bodies are not conditioned to go long periods without eating. Like it. Your body there's certain phases that your body goes through when you don't eat. And when your body's used to it, it knows how to, instead of panicking, switch into this mode where you're consuming less energy. But when your body's not used to that it's gonna hurt. You're gonna be like, yo, like yo, I feel weird because I haven't eaten in the past like 4 hours or past 6 hours. And when I got you, bro. When you get hungrier when you don't know there's food coming. Even when you fast and like, all right, at the end of the fast, I already know what I'm gonna break it with. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna get this. Like the fast ain't that bad. But when you're hungry and there's no food around, it could be just 12 hours and you're gonna feel even hungrier.
Lamentations 4 and 8. Their visage is blacker than coal. Oh no, Salakia, 9th verse.
Mm-hmm.
They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger.
Yeah, but even when it mentioned that about their visage, their appearance, your skin does get darker. Right. When you during the famine, when you haven't eaten, skin actually gets darker. Got it?
So let me read that. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones.
Yeah, they become unrecognizable. And when your skin cleaves to your bones, that's them those charity commercials. They'll show the kids in Africa and they'll play the little sad song and stuff. And you'll notice that most of them, their head is like really big and then their stomach looks inflated. But in every part of them is skinny, right? It's just like bones, and their legs and shit. And you're like, yo, but why is the stomach so big? Yeah, that happens during the famine. I mean, when you don't eat for a long period of time. But it's not because it's full of food.
It is withered.
Hmm?
It has become like a stick.
Damn.
They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger.
Yeah. See that? It's better to die by a sword, a weapon, be stabbed, be shot, than to die by a famine or hunger because it's a slow, painful death.
For these find a way stricken through for want of the fruits of the field.
Yeah, so you just lay there. I mean, every second of it is agonizing because you're just hungry, you're thirsty, and you ain't got nothing, and you're getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and all you can do is just lay there now. You're just at the point where it's like there's no return. So how do you try to survive in a world where even somebody that's fully fed struggles to survive in, and you're at this disadvantage of being hungry?
Other countries are used to suffering like that. So like their minds are more hardened to deal with that. You pampered Americans, you got shows like My 600 Pound Life. And a nigga and they feeding into this shit, no pun intended, but they literally, yo, he just ordered 6 pizzas, man. That's just for him? Yeah, that's just for him, man. He's just gonna body that right now. Dolo. So it's like, what is a guy like that gonna do when there's no availability of food at all? And you have to go cold turkey. Like shit's gonna happen quickly. People ain't prepared. Look how the demic came and it was like, damn, one day you could go, one day you couldn't. The next day it was gone. The next day everything changed. And this time we know it ain't gonna just be the same level. It's gonna get worse. So in that day, food is gonna be worth more than gold. You can't eat gold. Right? Okay? Gold, we always mention that gold only is useful as long as you have a functioning society where you can do trade and things like that. Other than that, gold is not going to be worth more than food in that day. Because if you ask me, yo, if I can have this gold brick, or if I can have in a famine, okay, or if I could be fed for the next few days, and you starving, all right, you're going to take that food. Yeah. And that might be hard for people to wrap their mind around, but they're going to take that food.
Hell yeah.
All right, because that's life or death at that point. And that's why the next verse is going to say is, and I'll give it to you, Lamentations 4 and 10, the hands of the pitiful women have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people.
Yeah, that started as a cook. All right. So they ate their own children. And I always make a point to emphasize the importance of that in the fact that to eat you're not eating. First off, you're not just eating human body. You're eating your own child here. I mean, we're talking about the same own child. You know what people do for their kids? You hear that somebody even threatened your child, and it's over for that person. Somebody put their hands on your child, and it's over for that person. Somebody even bumped your child, and it's over for that person. You are now going to, in order to eat your child, you need to kill your child first. Realize that, right? So think about what state of mind people are going to be in a famine to be able to kill their child. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And it's like, it's unthinkable. Unthinkable. You don't even want to hear it. Kill my child. What? But yeah, that's if they shot in their children, you got to kill the child. Now imagine that. You got to think about, like, how are you going to look at child in the face and tell them some lie to justify what you about to do? Now, when you kill your child in a famine, it's not you just going, you know what, I'm going to just take a gun and pow right in the head. What if you don't got a gun? They just bare hands. What do you do then? You going to choke your own child to death? And watch, and as they're looking at you, clawing at your hands, screaming and crying for you to help them. They coming to you for you to help them, and you coming to them for them to help you. You know, and then boom, now you choke the life out your child. And then you know what? At that point, they're gonna go through with it because they're gonna say, shit, like you already crossed that threshold of like, yo, you already just killed your child. Fuck it. Like, what do you get from stopping now? Might as well get something from it. Then you go ahead and you cook him now. The Lord made sure you understand that human meat is not supposed to be eaten, because when you burn human meat, it doesn't smell like fried chicken. It smells disgusting, you know? So they're going to try to mask the scent and all these things, but that's going to be like, imagine what state of mind you have to be in. You have to be in a state of mind where your brain is not even processing that you're smelling human meat or that you're eating human meat. It's just like, it's going to such a primitive state that it's like, I got to survive, you know? And he's gonna eat 1, 2 bites, 3 bites, and then fuck it. Good now. Now you're a different person. And at that point, you're like, yo, there's no redemption for you. Like, where are you going after that? How are you gonna forget about that? You're not. So then you look for the next person's child. And now you're a child hunter. So here it is, all hell's breaking loose, and you hunting children so you can cook them. And in the movie The Road, they showed you that in the guy's basement. When they went up and they went down under they opened the ground thing, they went down to the basement. And dude bumped into something, and the thing started making sounds. What the fuck is that? They turn on the flashlight. He see a naked body, and then they're so weak, you think it's dead. But nigga opened his eyes like, he's like, feed us, please. And it's like, yo, they asking for help, but they look so bad that it's scary, you know. And they trying to chase them and grab, like, please, you gotta help us. He's like, yo, what you mean? Come to find out, that was the food source of those people that were living in the house. Got them in the basement, and when there's time to cook, they go and look, like how the scriptures talk about, look for the fat calf, the fatlings of the flock. These guys go into the basement. Okay, he look like he might be going soon, so let's get him. Because the rest, they might go a couple days longer. We don't want the food to go bad. They've gone so psycho that they're talking about humans like this. And this isn't just in The Road. In The Walking Dead, there was a scene like that. Line them up over the bathtub, and then they hit them in the head with the baseball bat, drain their blood, hang them on the hooks like meat, like a slaughterhouse. That's what people started reverting to. So why do they show you these things in these movies and these shows? Because they're telling you this is how reality is. When people have nothing, when they have nothing left to lose, they lose it. Purebred cannibal.
Hey, that's actually Jeepers Creepers if you ever watched that movie. Except they just made it was a demonic creature with wings. But essentially, he had a basement himself, and you have a whole bunch of bodies there. He knew how to preserve bodies, people, and things like that. That way they could live and things like that. But what? I mean, again, they made a demonic movie where essentially the whole thing is its fear. It could smell fear off people, and it would eat you depending on what it wants to. So, like the boy in the movie, this movie came out like 2001. So you just seen it. It took the boy to essentially for his eyes or whatever. It takes people to think what they want. But essentially, that's going to be essentially, people are literally going to be walking. They're going to have basements. They're going to have people down there. They're going to have a little dungeon down there. And they have people tied up in there, like you were mentioning with The Road and things like that, eating people.
All that pride is going to go right out the window at that point. Got it.
Just to paint the picture even even to make it more gross, right? And that is they say that even like firefighters and stuff, they always say that, you know, human meat actually smells like pork. So you got people that eat pork, human meat is not going to be too much of a problem for them. You know what I'm saying? Because you got different types of human meat. You're gonna have people that are gonna be eating decomposed human meat, man. You're gonna be seeing that because people do that. They'll go dig out the body and go cut certain parts and then cook it and eat it like some crazy ass hermetic shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Nasty shit like that. But I got some information here. It says here, it says the smell of human meat depends on whether it is being cooked, whether it's raw or in a state of decomposition. While there is no single universal description, accounts from medical professionals, first responders, and historical records suggest the following. Cooking and burning. When human flesh is heated or burned, it most frequently resembles common livestock, specifically pork or beef. All right? It says pork-like. Many sources, including firefighters and medical professionals, describe the smell of remarkably similar or the smell as remarkably similar to cooking pork or bacon. This similarity led to the historical slang term long pig for human meat. So there's actually a term for that. Like human meat is called long pig. Ain't that some shit? So you got people that actually eat bacon and pork and all that. When it comes down to the time, they're gonna be eating human meat because it's not that different, right? It says here, it's acrid/metallic. Because a whole body contains blood and organs not typically found in commercial meat, the smell can also have a heavy metallic scent from iron-rich blood or a sweet musky undertone attributed to cerebrospinal fluid. All right, and then of course you got the burning hair, the burning hair, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, remember when the Lord says He's going to, basically people are going to be like the fatlings of rams and goats and so on and so forth. That's not a sacrifice to be eaten, though. You know what I'm saying? That's a sacrifice as a burning for all the sins that you've committed upon the face of the earth. Here in America, Babylon the Great, the Lord is recompensing that judgment upon you. Okay, so you're burning as a form of destruction, but in that form of destruction, the Lord is going to glory in that, right? The smoke of the burning of the torment is going to go up, and that's the Lord is going to smell that, and He's going to like that smell. It's going to be a savor unto Him. Okay, but the people who are going to be cooking humans to eat them, it's not going to be savory, right? You're going to make it taste like it's savory because you're hungry as shit, and the Lord's going to put a spirit on you to kill somebody else and eat them. Okay. But the elect, we're not going to be worried about that. We're not going to be worried about looking at the next brother and be like, yo, man, that brother, yo, we might have to, you know what I'm saying? We might have to put him down, and it's never going it's never going to happen. You know, like, oh, that Eve right there, oh, she got a newborn baby. Yo, let's see what we could do tonight. Maybe she might have to go with that baby too. Nah, we're not going to be doing none of that shit. But you end up in an Edomite community, and you going to be, the whole community going to be, hey, you seen that guy who just pulled up? Yo, you seen that guy who just pulled up? What time we going to rush that house? Or wait till about 2-3 hours when the lights go out and he's falling asleep. We're gonna go in there and take care of business. He's not gonna see the light of day today or tomorrow. You know, you're gonna be seeing that. You're gonna be hearing that. You know, it's gonna be things. People gonna be missing. People that you normally see, whether they be posting on social media or whether they be outside all the time. We outside. They're not gonna be outside much longer. They're not gonna want to be outside much longer. When them Edomites start popping out the woodwork, letting you know who they really are. You know what I'm saying? Because right now they can mask it by eating McDonald's and shit. What's the difference between eating McDonald's and human meat anyway? They put humans in the damn burgers anyway. You know what I'm saying? And Rabbi Finkelstein could tell you that, and you still go and say, oh, nah, that's bullshit. He's telling you what they do. Okay? So it's not bullshit. They actually do these things. It's all part of their sacrifices and their rituals that they do, man. When all these women are doing these abortions and they take out the organs that they need, the rest, they just grind it up and then give it to the goyim, as they say. Okay? And people go line up at a drive-thru to go get some damn McDonald's. Guess what? The McDonald's workers don't even eat that damn food, man. The rats don't even eat that shit. All right? So you tell me. But the time is coming, man. We're going to be smelling it. You're going to go through certain neighborhoods and you're going to be like, yo, what's that smell? It's a very putrid. What the fuck is that shit? You know what I'm saying? Because that whole neighborhood, the Lord done plagued them with some type of disease that it wiped all of them niggas out, man. A whole block, entire block. As soon as you pass by that, you'd be like, yo, what the fuck? There's all dead bodies in that shit. Some of them waking up and mutating into fucking zombies, eating off of each other, eating the brains out and shit. Just like they show in the movies. They don't get those ideas from thin air out of nowhere. No, it's something that they know actually as a form of a chemical reaction. When you put certain people through certain types of tests, they show you what they're capable of doing. The CIA can do tests, MK Ultra, and all these different things, and keep people up awake for 30 days straight. You can't sleep for 30 days straight. And they said when they did that to them, the people start to get possessed by demons. Okay, they start to get possessed by demons, man. All right, they became mediums for demons. So Esau knows what he's doing, bro. But they're doing it not only just on a test, but it's more on a large scale. All right, that's why the Lord says, if he doesn't shorten the days, there shall no flesh be saved, man. Okay, but for the elect's sake, the days are being shortened, as we can see. We're already in April, damn near the halfway point of April. That's crazy. April just came. We was all together for the Passover, and we're always pretty much halfway through the month. All right, the time is flying, man. It's only beneficial to the elect moving forward from here on out, man. All right, y'all brothers got it.
Done. That's it. That's it. We're going to end it off on this. Got over here. At the end of the day, you know what? These evils are going to come, but the Heavenly Father says he's going to deliver us from it. We're going to witness some shit, but we're going to be all right. And that's why people are going to want to be around men of the Lord, because they're going to know that they ain't going to be all right without it. Especially you find shits out there. Guess what? You're going to have a big target on your back. Your whole lot. You know, you got one chick. I say this one thing, then we close it. But you got one chick who has like 1.2 million followers. Yeah? You like the followers when it's on IG. But imagine 1.2 million dudes trying to find you. They're trying to actually follow you. And they're not here to like a picture. You know, because some of them people that leave them crazy comments on your little comment section, see, on Instagram, you just delete or block the person, right? In real life, how you do that? You know? How do you do that? And a million dudes, they're going to figure out real quick how to get into that apartment. Doesn't matter what floor you on. And you better hope you don't have a fire escape. You're going to see 2-3 dudes at the thing knocking on the window. It's time to open up. I've been following you for the last 3 years. Blocked you 3 years ago, though. You know? They're going to be ready to open up that door. You know? So at the end of the day, it's fun to have followers on social media, but in real life, having them dudes chasing your ass, it ain't going to be too fun for you. You know? And if dudes would line up and do that challenge that Lily, whatever her name is, did, you know, 1,000 dudes or whatever in a day. Now they sign up for that. So that lets you know they're like, I don't mind taking her after you already had her. So what you think they're gonna do when all hell breaks loose? They're gonna be lined up around the block like it's a concert. You know? Wait.
I'm pregnant now.
Oh, that thing? Now it's gonna be like finding Waldo who the father is. You know? But they're gonna be lined up waiting. Still alive? Okay, cool. My turn. I'm saying walk up in there. Next thing you know, okay, all right, my turn. You know? And you stuck up in there, now what? And you're not getting paid for it. It ain't no OnlyFans, it ain't none of that. It's real life. So you think about that. Got it, bro.
2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand.
And the beloved of the Lord is not everybody. Okay? The beloved are the beloved, those that are doing his will. Go ahead.
Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same.
So the Lord's going to deliver us from the time of trouble. And we're going to be turning out. See, in that time, you ain't going to be looking like fine shit. You're just going to be looking like shit. No fine. And it's going to be easier to reject. Because you're going to need us. But we're not going to need you. It's going to be like we're doing you a favor to keep you. It's like, yo, hold on. You ain't even, like, you're dirty. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna try to be polite. How do I say you're dirty? You know? So you gotta stand back there and we'll think about it. And then we're not gonna think about it. You know, but what are you gonna do in that time? You need us? Fuck, like what?
Verse 75. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your God.
There you go. So we're gonna be good. The Lord is gonna guide us through this time of hell. So we're not gonna be afraid. We're gonna be all right. And then the Lord blesses us with spiritual power. We're gonna be extra all right. You know, these YNs, they get a new gun and they walk around looking for anybody. Second you walk past them. You know what I'm saying? Like they got the shirt up. Bro, nobody's even looking at you. All right, just making sure. Like they got it, so they wanna, you know what I'm saying, use it. Yeah, looking for the cops and shit. Where the ops at? Yeah, all problems. Listen, bro, put that shit somewhere, man. But you know, and when the Lord empowers you, we're gonna be all right. We ain't gonna be crazed maniacs, but we're gonna be good. We're gonna walk through wherever we're gonna walk through because I mean, you just try it. If you try, you're doing a detriment to yourself. Y'all good with that? All right. So that was it on that. Unless brothers got anything else, bro, you got something? All right, cool. So we're gonna end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. Lord willing, those talks break down. If not today, tomorrow, the day after that. But eventually, we know that's coming. You know, so just stay prayed up because at this point, we're at that any moment now. You know, time and prophecy. So in closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak with us. Until next time, Shalom.